Ladies and gentlemen, God knows you're tired. He knows the weight you carry, the battles you face, and the tears you cry when no one else is watching. Life has a way of testing us in ways we never thought possible, stretching us beyond limits we didn't even know we had. And some days you feel like you're walking through a storm that just won't pass, like every step takes more energy than you have left to give. But let me tell you something right now, God sees it all. He knows your struggles, your doubts, your frustrations, and He has not left you, not for a single second. God sees your struggles, every tear you've cried, every sleepless night you've endured, and every time you felt like the weight of the world was too much to bear. He knows your pain, the kind of pain you don't always show to others, the kind you carry silently because you think no one will understand. But let me tell you, God understands. He sees it all, the moments when you put on a brave face but feel like you're falling apart inside. The times when you try to push through, even though you feel like you can't take another step. Nothing you face is hidden from Him, and nothing is too small or too big for His concern. When life feels overwhelming, it's easy to believe the lie that you're alone in your struggle, that no one truly gets what you're going through. But that's not the truth. The truth is, God is with you every step of the way. He's there when you wake up in the morning and don't feel like you have the strength to face the day. He's there in the moments when you feel completely isolated, as though no one notices or cares. He's there when you're on your knees, crying out for help, wondering if anyone is listening. And He's there even when you feel like giving up, when you feel like your prayers are hitting the ceiling and bouncing back. God never promised that life would be easy, but He did promise that He would never leave you nor forsake you. That promise is unshakable. When you feel weak, He is your strength. When you feel lost, He is your guide. And when you feel broken, He is the one who pieces you back together. His presence isn't just a comforting thought, it's a reality. Even in the darkest moments when you can't see the light, His light is still shining on you. He's working in ways you can't see, orchestrating events, opening doors, and moving mountains on your behalf. You might wonder why, if He sees your pain, He doesn't just take it away. But sometimes God allows us to walk through struggles not because He wants to see us suffer, but because He knows that on the other side of that struggle is something greater. He knows that your pain has a purpose, that your challenges are shaping you into the person you're meant to be. He sees the end from the beginning, the beauty that will rise from the ashes, and the strength that will come from enduring the storm. Even when you don't feel Him, He's there. Even when you don't hear Him, He's speaking to your heart. His presence isn't dependent on your feelings or circumstances. It's constant, unchanging, and deeply personal. So when you feel alone, remind yourself of this truth: you are never truly alone. God is with you. He sees your struggles, He knows your pain, and He's walking with you through it all. Trust in that, and let His presence be your peace. Every hardship you face, no matter how painful or confusing, has a purpose. It's hard to see it when you're in the middle of the storm, when the weight of your challenges feels unbearable and nothing seems to make sense. But God, in His infinite wisdom, never allows a struggle into your life without a reason. Every tear you cry, every sleepless night, and every moment of doubt is not wasted. It is part of a divine plan, one that is far greater and more beautiful than anything you could ever imagine. Hardships have a way of shaping us, molding us into stronger, wiser, and more compassionate people. They reveal the strength within us that we didn't know we had. They strip away the superficial, forcing us to dig deeper and discover what truly matters. When everything else feels like it's falling apart, hardships remind us of the unshakable foundation of God's love and faithfulness. They teach us lessons we could never learn in comfort, lessons about perseverance, humility, and the power of faith. You might ask, why does it have to be this way? Why do I have to endure this pain? The truth is, some growth can only come through struggle. Just as gold is refined in fire, our character and faith are refined through trials. God is not punishing you, He is preparing you. He sees the bigger picture that you cannot see. While you may only see the difficulty of the present moment, He sees the blessings that are being prepared for you. He sees the person you are becoming through this process, a person who is stronger, wiser, and closer to Him. Trusting in God's plan doesn't mean you have to understand it. Faith is not about having all the answers. It's about believing in God's goodness, even when life doesn't make sense. It's about holding on to hope when everything in you wants to give up. It's about saying, God, I don't know why this is happening, but I trust that you do. That trust doesn't erase the pain, but it gives you the strength to endure it. It reminds you that this is not the end of your story, but a chapter in a much greater one. God's plan is always for your good, even when it feels otherwise. He works all things together for those who love him, even the things that feel like they're breaking you. So don't lose hope. Don't let the weight of today make you forget the promises of tomorrow. Your hardship has a purpose, and that purpose is to bring you closer to the life God has for you. Trust him, hold on to him, and know that he is with you every step of the way. Faith is not built in the comfort of easy days or the simplicity of problem-free moments. It grows and strengthens in the crucible of challenges, in the moments when life feels most uncertain and the weight of your struggles feels like too much to bear. Faith flourishes in the very places where doubt threatens to take root, where the path ahead seems unclear, and where every step forward feels like a test of endurance. It is in these moments that faith is stretched, refined, and deepened. When everything is going well, it's easy to feel a sense of gratitude and to believe in God's goodness. But true faith is not measured by how you feel in moments of abundance. It's revealed by how you respond in times of lack. It's easy to trust when the answers come quickly and the path is smooth, but faith is about clinging to hope when the answers are delayed and the path is fraught with obstacles. It's about believing in what you cannot see, trusting in what you cannot understand, and holding on to God's promises even when your circumstances seem to contradict them. Challenges are not just tests, they are opportunities. They force us to confront our doubts, to wrestle with our fears, and to make a choice. Do we give up or do we dig deeper? Do we let the weight of our burdens crush us or do we let them push us closer to God? In the midst of trials, faith whispers, hold on, keep going, trust that there's a purpose to this pain. And as you hold on, you begin to see that the very challenges that once seemed insurmountable are the ones that strengthen you the most. It is through challenges that we come to know God in a deeper way. When life is easy, it's tempting to rely on our own strength, to believe that we are in control. But in times of hardship, we are reminded of our need for God. We are reminded that he is our source of strength, our refuge, and our ever-present help in times of trouble. And as we turn to him, our faith grows not because our problems disappear, but because we learn to trust him in the midst of them. Faith is like a muscle that must be exercised to grow. And the challenges you face are the weight that strengthens it. So when you find yourself in the midst of a storm, remember this: it is not a sign of God's absence, but of his presence. He is working in you, refining your character and drawing you closer to him. And through it all, your faith is growing not despite the challenges, but because of them. Trust in that process and let your faith take root and flourish even in the hardest of times. There's a profound truth that can change the way you see your struggles. God's strength is made perfect in your weakness. It's not in your moments of power or control that his glory shines brightest, but in the times when you feel like you've reached your limit, when you have nothing left to give, and when your heart whispers, I can't do this anymore. It is in those moments of vulnerability, those moments when you are at the end of yourself, that God steps in with his power, his grace, and his unmatched ability to carry you through. Human nature often resists weakness. We are taught to be strong, to hold it all together, to never let anyone see us falter. But the truth is, our greatest breakthroughs come when we stop striving in our own strength and surrender to God. Surrender doesn't mean giving up in despair. It means giving over in trust. It's saying, God, I can't do this on my own, but I believe you can. It's acknowledging your limitations while embracing his limitless power. When you surrender, you make room for God to move in ways that only he can. Your weakness becomes the platform for his strength. Your emptiness becomes the space where his fullness can dwell. And your surrender becomes the gateway for his miraculous power to work in your life. It's not about you being enough. It's about him being more than enough. He doesn't need you to have all the answers, to be perfect, or to always know the way forward. He simply asks for your trust, your willingness to let go of control, and your faith that he is with you in every step of the journey. Weakness is not failure, it's a reminder of your humanity and your need for a savior. And in that need, God meets you with an abundance of grace. He doesn't look at your brokenness and turn away. He looks at it and says, "This is where I will show my strength. This is where I will work my wonders." His power isn't hindered by your flaws, it's magnified through them. When you are weak, he is strong. When you feel like you can't take another step, he carries you. When you feel lost, he becomes your guide. And when you feel like you're falling apart, he holds you together. Surrender is not easy, especially when you've been taught to rely on yourself. But it's in surrender that you find freedom. It's in surrender that you experience the peace of knowing you don't have to do it all on your own. And it's in surrender that God's strength is made perfect in your life. So let go of the need to always be strong, to always have it together, and to always have the answers. Trust in God and let his strength carry you. In your weakness, he is glorified. In your surrender, his power is revealed. And in your trust, his love is made known. Exhaustion can feel all-consuming, like an endless storm that leaves you wondering if you'll ever see the light again. There are seasons in life where you feel drained physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It's as if every step forward requires more energy than you have, and even the smallest tasks seem insurmountable. But no matter how heavy the burden feels, you must hold on to this truth. Seasons of exhaustion are temporary, but God's promises endure forever. The weariness you feel right now is not your permanent state, it's a chapter, not the whole story. God has not forgotten you, and he has not abandoned his plans for you. Exhaustion often makes us question our strength, our purpose, and even our faith. But it's in these moments of weakness that God's promises shine the brightest. He has assured us time and time again that his grace is sufficient, that his strength is made perfect in our weakness, and that he will never leave us nor forsake us. These promises are not fleeting, they are eternal. While the trials of this life come and go, his word remains unchanging, a steady anchor in the storm. His promises are your lifeline, a reminder that no matter how hard things seem, he is working all things together for your good. Seasons of exhaustion are a part of life, but they also serve a purpose. They remind us of our limitations and draw us closer to God. When we are worn out, we are forced to lean on him, to trust in his strength rather than our own. It's in these seasons that our faith is stretched and our relationship with him grows deeper. The weariness you feel is not the end, it's a process that God is using to prepare you for what lies ahead. He sees the bigger picture, and he knows what you need to endure to grow and to fulfill the purpose he has placed on your life. God's promises endure beyond your current struggles. They transcend the ups and downs of life and remain a constant source of hope and encouragement. His promise of rest is real. He calls you to come to him, to lay your burdens at his feet, and to find peace in his presence. His promise of renewal is certain. He will restore your strength, renew your spirit, and give you the courage to keep moving forward. His promise of victory is assured. What you are facing now will not defeat you because he has already overcome the world. You may feel like this season of exhaustion will never end, but it will. The days of weariness will give way to days of renewal. The heaviness you carry will be lifted, and you will find strength you didn't know you had, not because of your own power, but because of God's unfailing faithfulness. Hold on to his promises even when you feel like letting go. Trust that his timing is perfect and that his plans for you are good. This season is temporary, but his love, his grace, and his promises are eternal. Let that truth sustain you as you walk through this chapter, knowing that God's promises will carry you through to the other side. As we come to the close of this message, let me remind you of one unshakable truth. God knows your heart, your struggles, and your pain. He sees the exhaustion that weighs you down, the doubts that creep in, and the battles you fight in silence. Yet he remains steadfast, walking with you every step of the way, carrying you when you cannot go on. Your trials are not meaningless. They are shaping you, refining you, and preparing you for the plans he has in store. In your weakness, his strength shines. In your darkest moments, his light is most radiant. Every hardship has a purpose, and every tear is accounted for in his divine plan. Trust that your exhaustion is temporary, but his promises are eternal. Even when life feels overwhelming, know that you are not alone, and you are never forgotten. Seasons of weariness will pass, but his love and faithfulness endure forever. So hold on to hope, lean into his strength, and surrender the burdens you cannot bear. Let him renew your spirit, guide your steps, and give you the peace that surpasses all understanding. Remember, faith grows not in the absence of challenges, but in the midst of them. You are stronger than you think because he is with you. Rest in his presence, trust in his plan, and know this: the God who knows your pain is the same God who will bring you through it. Keep going, keep believing, and never forget you are held by the one who never fails.